Yeah, if you were on a flat Earth and the Earth was between 2 points, you could see both sides of the moon, depending on who you were, which is not the case.
Yeah, we look at Australia; they see it upside down, versus we see it right side up, or vice versa.
Yeah, just like if a ball went across the top of the room, you'd see it.
No, not really.
No.
Hey, why wouldn't it end up here upside down on flat Earth?
It depends on your latitude. You see it from different ways. When you're on one latitude, you're going to see the face one way, and another latitude, you're going to see face the other way.
Yeah, and why wouldn't that happen on a flat Earth?
No, I didn't say that. I said you wouldn't see only one side of the moon. On a flat Earth, you would see both sides of the moon, depending on.
I thought I destroyed this I thought I destroyed this weeks ago.
No, if you were on a flat Earth and the moon was circling overhead, one person would see one side of the moon, and another person would see another, and that never happened.
So if you have like a chair or a table, okay, and you're viewing it, if you like sit down like next to your table, and then another person sits on the other side, you can see the other side of the table. Okay. Now, if you lie down and look at the table, you will only see one side of the table, right?
What are you talking about? I don't even understand what you're saying.
So imagine your table is the moon. It doesn't matter what shape, because we only ever see one side of the moon, so you don't know if it's flat or spherical or just slightly curved. Okay, that's
the fact
irrelevant.
that you're saying that automatically just negates everything else you said.
Okay, we'll say that's a sphere. Okay, so if you have a sphere and if you have a balloon in your room, okay, and you're viewing it, almost at the eye level, where it's almost at eye level, just slightly higher. Then if you lie down on the ground, you will only see one side of it, right?
What? Let me make this a little clearer for you to understand.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I was arguing.
You put a balloon in the middle of the room. One person stands on one side of the room. Another person stands on another side of the room. They both see different sides of the balloon.
Okay, now raise the balloon up. Now raise the balloon up.
You still can see different sides of the balloon.
We'll see the bottom of the balloon. That's the right answer. They see the bottom.
No, they could see different sides of it, and you never see.
Raise your balloon up. Raise your balloon up, my guy. Raise your balloon higher. Eventually, you won't be able to see the other side of the moon.
Can I offer one little thing I just thought of as you guys were chatting? Why not try and diagram it, model it?
You can model.
Yep. It's very easy to understand.
Is that the Coriolis kit?
If the moon,
that's red.
Yeah.
Model it for Robert, or
no? Just model it. Model it on the globe with the moon far away and the Earth rotating, and then model it on a flat Earth circling overhead, or however you want to model it, whatever you think it is.
We don't claim what the moon is. We don't claim what the moon is. We don't claim a height.
I don't claim what the moon is.
We don't claim a size, so that'd be a straw man.
We've never been to the moon. We don't know what it is.
You've never been to the moon.
No, you don't need to know. Wait a second. You don't need to know what it is. Why do you need to know what it is? You need to know that you can see it. And you need to figure out what shape it is and how it would behave as it goes overhead if the Earth is flat and it's circling overhead, or however you want to model it. But if you aren't prepared to even so much as draw it and diagram it, how it should behave, and explain your position, not just with words, but in a diagram, then that is indicative of the issue in that you cannot model it.
I think we can, though. But
then show us how it works. Don't just tell us it should do this, should do that. Show us how it works.
We do not claim.
We don't make the claim that we know how the moon works, as you well know, Red Cloud. We don't do that.
Yeah,
and when you look at the moon, we don't get to see the moon in its entirety, so we don't know what it is. We haven't been there. We don't know.
Think about this. I found out my parents adopted me, and then I bring you evidence that they did, and then you're like, well, who are your real parents? And then you start asking all these questions. Do I have to replace everything? Do I have to answer every single question you can think of off the top of your head, or that my parents are suddenly my real parents now?
No, I haven't asked every single question I possibly could. I've asked I've asked
That's
one
what you
simple
guys have
thing.
been doing. You've been like, oh, what about this?
No,
Well, what about
no,
this?
it's not.
And this
It's
is
not.
also okay. Let's just say it's one question. Just because I can't answer one question, first of all, just because I can't replace it, does not mean my parents suddenly are not are my real parents. Okay.
If you
And we don't know what the moon
refuse
is.
to
No one knows
test
what the moon
the
is.
claim that
Nobody
your parents
knows
aren't your
what the
real
moon
parents,
is because
and you
nobody
have
has been there to confirm
no
their
tests, and
theory.
you refuse any and all tests to prove that your parents are
That's
either are or not your parents, then
But what if there's
you've
a
got to.
way you can't? What if you don't know all the variables, so you cannot test it? If we don't know how the sky works, because we cannot freely and privately access it, like you can't go up past a certain altitude. It's all militarized. You have to get
Exactly.
your footage
You're-
pre-approved, and they actually get to keep They actually get to have the footage, and that you're relying on them giving you accurate footage. First of all, second, why are you talking about the sky?
If
We're talking about
your
the Earth.
concept, because you were talking about it, now you're suddenly not talking about it. That was the topic of
You guys
conversation,
are
and
like,
now
you guys are like,
there was a topic on.
why are all the other planets balls?
Yeah, but you made some
That's
claims that were not accurate about flat earthers.
Sam,
We're correcting
I
you on
came
that.
in
Okay.
and
We
asked
didn't
you
make
this
any
because you
correct
were
claim. I know
talking
you can
about
hear
it.
me.
Now
I know
suddenly,
you
why are
can hear
you
me,
looking
Red
up
Cloud.
to
We didn't
the
make
shape
any
of the
claim
Earth?
to the
Why are
shape
we
of
even
the moon
talking about the
and what it
moon?
is.
If it
Okay.
has nothing to
We
do
never
with the
did.
shape of
We
the Earth,
never
why
did.
was that a
We
contention in
never
the
did.
conversation?
You know
Well, they
that.
were talking, and then I
Yo.
came in.
Hold on, guys. Going
It is
on.
Red
a
Cloud.
contention.
Hey,
Well, one second. Moderation. Point of moderation. Red Cloud, do you have Jin muted?
Who?
Jin CBR1.
Yeah, I think he has because he can't hear me talking.
Sorry, Jin. Yes, it was just
Yeah,
a little
put the
messy
volume up,
earlier.
then you damn fool.
No offense,
And pay
Jin. It was a little
attention.
messy earlier, and I was
Shut
trying to
up and pay attention, you fool.
figure out what people were
You're
saying.
saying
Thank you,
things
Jin.
that we never said. You're making claims that we flat earthers never made, okay?
I
When you
made
came
no
in.
claim.
Shut up. You're talking when I'm talking.
I have
Shut up.
made no claim.
You are talking when I am
Please don't
Yeah,
overtalk
then
each other.
fuck off,
You are
then, Jin.
talking
You can
when I
fuck
am
off.
talking. You are talking when I am
Come on,
talking.
guys.
You guys
Damn
have to go
fool.
one at a
The
time.
first thing he
I don't
does
want to
is
mute
say,
anybody.
shut
Guys,
up.
we just
Tell
need
him
to
he
go
can.
one at
Yes,
a
of
time.
course, because you're talking
He
when
can.
I'm talking. So shut up and pay
I
attention.
just turned him right
You
back down
made
again.
some, you're still talking. You made
You didn't
some
do that.
claims about us flat earthers that we didn't make. We don't know the size. We've never been there to confirm what we may
Ladies and
think or
gentlemen,
hypothesize it is. That's why we say we don't know. That's the integral and honest position to take. Thank you. Shut your mouth now.
Jin, best foot forward, man.
Yeah, let's
You'll
try
get
to
what you
keep
get.
it, just straight to the arguments, like make arguments and then arguments against arguments. Let's try not to go after the person if we can.
I'm not interested. So the question is, why is nobody prepared to? Because you're talking about it. You're talking, well, if it's in the balloon, put the balloon up, and this is how it should behave. This is what it should look like. Okay, so let's put a balloon up. Now we're talking about it, but what about drawing it? Show us in a diagram. It can be crayon. I don't care.
Sure.
Just show it in a diagram
I'll
somewhere.
gladly draw it.
Do that. Go ahead.
Okay. Just give me a couple minutes.
Okay.
Shout out to word salad.
What's that?
No, I was saying good for you. But can you guys draw it? I mean, like, or draw what we might be thinking? I mean, think about it. I don't know. Maybe a little experiment.
I'm drawing it right now.
No, I got the wrong person.
what are you guys drawing?
I'm drawing the moon because they, for some reason, can't grasp this simple concept.
You just see it.
The moon is in 2D.
The
Dude,
concept
when
is
you look at the moon, it's
is
in
far away.
2D. Why
And so
would
for
someone
every
have to
observer,
draw?
it looks the same as it passes overhead. It does not invert. So it must be far away.
No, I
It
can show
doesn't
you
change in
pictures of the
size.
moon inverting. I can show you pictures of the moon inverting.
Yes,
And
because
then you're
people
going to say,
are
oh,
on
well, that's
different
because of
hemispheres.
refraction. Then you're going to be like, well, that's because of refraction.
No, not because of
Just
refraction.
typical
Because the moon is far away, so it doesn't change in angular size appreciably.
It does actually.
It matches
You're
the Earth
lying.
pretty well. So if there's a diagram you can show, I'm just talking while you're.
Is the moon a
you're
perfect
diagramming
circle? Is the moon a perfect circle?
We don't know what the
Show-
moon is, so we don't claim what it is.
If the moon doesn't change in angular side, what's a supermoon?
Exactly.
Appreciably.
They say that's
discretionary.
refraction. They say that's refraction. See if they always shift the goalpost.
Yeah, still changing
So
an
we're not
angular
talking about
size.
we're not talking about the
size,
supermoon once in a while. We're talking about
changing
daily.
size, yeah. There you are. Refraction or not, it changes
No,
size.
you wouldn't expect it to change size because if you place 3 balls on the floor, okay, place 3 balls on the floor, and view them from eye level, the one in the back will be the smallest. Now, stand up and view them from above, and the one in the back will be the same size as the one in the front. Guess what? It's because they're all far away, and so apply that to the moon.
Yeah.
The moon is pretty high up.
Yes, it's far away. Now the question is how far away? It can't
don't
be
claim
within
it.
100 miles.
We don't
Not
know
within
that. We
100
don't know
miles.
that exactly.
No, it could
We
be.
know it's not 238,000 miles away. We know that.
The thing is, it can be
Yeah.
calculated.
How?
It can't be.
You could figure out how close it would have to be for it to change size appreciably. You can do that. I'm not going to do that. I'm already suggesting you do that. I'm not going to give you formulas and everything.
Why, you have a specific distance the moon is, or is it like an average? So
So you're
is it like
saying
arbitrary, or is it always like, is someone checking it every day? Like, what's going on here?
from different altitudes, you might be able to deduce the size change. Is that what you're trying to say? I don't know, man.
If it's, you don't. If it's really close, then go with an altitude, it would be bigger. There's all sorts of ways you can tell.
But you wouldn't be able to tell the exact way. And also, who says it's a physical object?
We talked about that.
Tell me how you confirm that it is a physical object.
Because you can see it.
We'll just,
so I can see a laser on my wall. That means the laser is a physical object.
Oh, no, you can see that it has features. It's obviously not a laser. It has physical features. It has
I didn't say
shape.
it's a laser. It's an example. Just because you can see something does not mean it's a physical object.
You're denying that the moon is physical.
So I can project something on my wall that looks like a physical moon, but that does not mean it's a real moon.
We can bounce
Is it possible in your worldview, Red Cloud?
Off it. You can bounce radar off it.
How do you know you're bouncing it off the moon? How do you know you're bouncing it off the moon?
You aim away from the moon and it doesn't come back to you.
You're bouncing it towards the moon, but how do you know you're bouncing it off the moon?
Because if you aim it away from the moon, it doesn't come back to you.
All right, so a couple more 10 years, we'll give you a moon camera, just a moon cam of the Earth.
Okay, here's the picture. Here's one picture.
100.
So I dropped it in the live chat. The one picture, some people were posting after me, but here's the first picture. So you see how people can see the different sides of the moon? Now, we raise the altitude. Oh, no way! Look, you suddenly can't see the different sides. And if you're like, well, you can still see it, then increase it even further, okay?
Yeah, we raised the altitude to 384,400 kilometers, and guess what? Yeah, it works well. Thank you.
Where are you? In live stream text? Okay, there you are.
Yeah, live stream.
We raised the moon's altitude to where it is, and guess what? It works.
Great example, great image there. Well done.
Wordshal, I appreciate that you did. I did say, that that's not really what I meant.
Thank you for
and also, please note that there's a video in there. Hang on a second. There's a video in there.
Thank you for showing that the
moon is plasma. No one will land on it.
And the moon is not plasma, by the way.
It's unmodelable.
Yeah, we know how far away the moon is.
So until you can answer this question about why this thing about your parents adopting you, then your parents are your real parents. Okay.
What does that mean?
So if I prove that my parents aren't my real parents and they adopted me, and then you're like, well, how do you explain this?
Dude.
And then I'm like, well, I don't know. I just know that these are my real parents. I falsified that. And then you're like, well, how do you explain this?
With all due respect, we're not asking you to explain anything about the moon other than the fact that you can see it and to figure out what shape it would have to be and the distance it would have to be to behave the way it does in the sky, according to your idea of what the shape of the Earth is.
Yeah, but how does it behave anyway? What behaviors are you talking about?
The atmosphere. You're also assuming the medium. You're assuming your little box straw man vision type thing that you say.
What I'm hearing from you is that you'll never be able to...
What behaviors are you talking about?
No, we don't have curved visual space. Stop with the curved visual space stuff.
If your position is...
If you can disprove it, then I'll give props
And
to you.
in the meantime, we have radio waves that are not affected by curved visual
No, they
space.
don't.
So
They don't know that.
yeah,
That's a fallacy.
the radio waves take
Fallacy,
you know,
NASA.
2.5 seconds to go round trip. So we know
That's
how
a
far away the
fallacy,
moon is.
NASA. It's never been
This
proven.
Not a
this is
fallacy. Fuck off,
It's a
it's a fallacy.
fallacy, NASA.
Not a
In any
fallacy.
way, in
Fuck
any way,
off, it's a
shape, or
fallacy.
form, that is a fallacy in every
Incorrect
shape or
again.
form.
Incorrect again. We know how it
No,
works.
not incorrect. There's no way we
Incorrect.
know
Totally
how
incorrect.
far
You're
the
wrong.
moon
No,
is.
no, we do
And
know.
the idea that you
We
can
do
send
know.
a signal
hold on.
and for it to bounce off is a joke. The only
We
way
do know.
I could accept that as a standard is
Of
if
course
I am
not. You
on
won't
the moon
accept it.
receiving that signal.
Oh.
Then I
Of
know we
course
can
not.
send it.
You won't
outside of
accept
that.
it because
I know a
you know
moderator would tell you
believe it.
guys to talk one at
No.
a
Stop.
time. Talk one at a time.
Jen is saying something that's wrong. I mean, we know
It's
how
okay.
far away the moon is. You
Talk
can
one
do it.
at a
I'm
time.
not
That's
saying
all.
anything that is wrong.
Yep.
You're wrong,
It's
NASA.
wrong.
You're
No,
lying.
incorrect. You can take a
Just
radio,
talk one at a
shine
time,
it,
boys.
point it at the moon, and 2.5 seconds later, you get the same thing coming
That
back.
is a fallacy that
We
can't be
don't.
proven. You
How's
need
that
to go
fallacy? Tell me how
None
that's a
of us
fallacy.
know that. None of us can
NASA Shield,
confirm
one
that.
second, NASA Shield.
How do
Give me
we
a second.
confirm that?
Jen, we don't need you to accept it. We already have
That's
it
fine.
figured
Yeah,
out.
that's we don't
don't need
accept it. We don't
your
accept
approval.
it, and it's bullshit.
That's
Is what
not.
it is.
That's
Oh,
not.
you can do it yourself.
Bullshit is what it is.
No
We've
need.
never been
No,
to the
sir, it
moon.
is BS
What do you
because
mean
you're
it's
assuming the
bullshit?
medium. You're
We
assuming
don't
a
know. You don't
medium.
have to assume. You don't have to assume anything. Nope. No assumption is made. You take your radio, you shine it at the moon, and 2.5 seconds later, you get the same signal back. We know how far away the moon
Bullshit.
is. 2.5
It's
wait,
never
seconds.
No,
been
you
shown.
don't.
It's
You're
never been
assuming
shown.
Because you're getting the
What do
distance
you
from
mean
the
you
time,
don't?
and that assumes the medium.
What do you mean it
Assuming the medium.
assumes the medium? What do you mean
Assume-
assumes the
There's
medium?
a dense medium in
Oh my
between.
goodness.
Dense medium.
What do you mean assumes the
Ether.
medium? Stop it. We know
AKA ether.
what ether?
AKA
There is no
ether.
What
ether.
ether?
Well, so what? Okay, there's ether.
Ether.
So it's still 2.5 light seconds away. We know how far light
Yeah.
travels in a
Think
second.
about this. Think about this. If
Light,
I
what's the
send,
speed of light? Hold up. What's the speed of light?
We know what the speed of light is. Really fast.
What is it?
We want the number?
What is the
Yeah,
speed
yeah.
of light? Is it wrong? If so, by how much is it wrong? Tell us if the speed of light is not what we say.
Hold up. One step at a time. NASA,
Right.
go ahead. What's the speed of light?
186,000 miles a second. Okay, next question.
In which medium?
Any medium?
Any medium.
That's not true.
Oh wow!
That's not true.
200
You're like totally.
299,792,458 meters per second.
Okay.
In what
so
medium? What density?
That's in a vacuum chamber.
Yeah, in the vacuum of space, we know that.
Yeah, and that's
Oh, can you prove that? Can you prove the vacuum of space?
Yeah, sure. You know,
Who proved it?
I thought
Okay.
you guys went to school
Hey,
and
just
bladders
stay with
and
that.
everything.
Hold on. What altitude are you proving the pressure for?
You take a barometer up on a balloon, it'll get higher and higher, and the altitude, as the altitude increases, the air pressure decreases until there is no air pressure, and then the balloon pops.
Okay, at what altitude?
There is no reason to
How high do you
assume.
want to go?
That doesn't
There's
mean
no
there's not a
reason-
dense medium, aka
Hold up.
You're
but
talking
Oh,
about
it
that.
does.
No, there's-
Actually, we can
One
just,
second.
We'll just pretend.
Red cloud. We took this balloon up. What altitude do we have the barometer at?
We'll just
I don't know
pretend
if
that there's a medium there, even though there isn't. We've shown it, but that's okay. We'll just pretend there is because we can.
You have
say it.
no clue what the medium is because no one's been up there.
NASA Shill,
What do
please
you
stop
mean?
interrupting, dude.
There are
We
12
have to go.
there are 12
Moderation, NASA Shill, please,
there are
dude. This is
12
moderation.
There are like 12 people in space, right?
Okay, we gotta
12.
go one at a time, please, guys.
12 people in space, right?
NASA Shill, I just put you on mute for a second because what's happening is Percentage's mic has a little bit of an echo. So it like really is just becoming audio chaos. So please, just one at a time.
Forgive me. By Red Cloud, what altitude is the balloon at?
What's that? Sorry, I'm sorry. I did answer it before, but let me make sure I got the question right. What was that again? Sorry.
What altitude is the balloon at?
What altitude is what balloon at?
You said you attached, theoretically, you attach a barometer to a balloon, and you let it go up, and it measures the pressure until it pops. What altitude is it measuring the pressure at?
The entire way up. The altitude, as the altitude increases.
What's the max altitude?
See, here's the thing. Give me 1 second. I was just criticized because, you did the "Are your parents real parents?" and I was accused of asking you every single question under the sun. That's exactly what you're doing right now.
No, I'm asking the same question again and again and again.
Yes,
what
it's
altitude did
irrelevant.
you measure the gas pressure at?
It's
What's the max
irrelevant.
altitude? Give me
Principle.
No, it's not.
Let me give you.
Hold on.
Let me give you the principle.
He wants an answer to his question.
As the altitude gains, air pressure decreases. There is no reason to
What is the
assume
altitude?
that beyond the point where, say, a balloon will pop or whatever, that the air pressure will magically start to increase. So if it decreases, it's reasonable to assume that it continues decreasing until there's none left. There's no
Yes,
reason
but
to
you're
assume
assuming that
anything
there's
else.
no ether.
So it's an assumption. So you don't know.
No, it's not an assumption.
You're assuming, like I said at the very beginning, you're assuming the medium, right?
I'm not assuming the medium. You're claiming
Oh my
the medium is unknown, and that is false.
It is unknown. We have undetermined amount of. It could be.
it is not.
Everything that's not. Hold up. Everything that's not known at first seems like magic, right?
You're claiming that it's not known.
One second. It's
yes. Okay,
bro.
sorry.
You haven't proven. We're going in circles. I asked you for an altitude with the barometer, and you haven't brought it yet. What's the highest altitude we have an actual barometric pressure reading of space?
That is like asking for if your parents are your real parents. That's
not
relevant to the principle.
No, it's
provable. Parents are real parents is not really provable.
It's provable.
Yeah, that is a valid question to ask. You've got a barometer.
No, it
it's
isn't.
meant to be making measurements. It should be
It's
recorded.
not a valid question to ask. What you should be doing is testing.
Red Cloud, you said yourself you put a barometer on a balloon and you put it up and you get pressure reading.
Yeah, you can do that.
Okay, so it should have been done, right? If anyone can do it easily, then it's been done in the past. Give me an actual barometric pressure reading of a barometer on a balloon.
No, you do your own research.
Exactly.
You haven't done it.
So you can't just.
Is it possible? Is it possible for a reason unknown to us? Hold up, Red Cloud. Is it possible for a reason unknown to us that the pressure does start increasing again?
I'd like to see evidence for that. Why would you assume
That's
that?
not what I asked. I said, is it possible?
No.
What? It's impossible?
Yes, it's impossible.
How would he know that?
What does this have
Because
to do with
because people in craft have been up that high. You just simply deny that it's true. That's irrelevant to a conversation about
Law of hydrostatics
what we
is
can
pretty
physically
much a law.
measure.
Hold on,
Your denial
it does
is
technically
irrelevant.
change. It does technically change in directions, because if you go towards like a body in space that has an atmosphere of some sort, it's going to start increasing there. So, and you don't even know what direction up is anyways.
What does this have to do with the distance to the moon?
Nice.
They're assuming the medium. He has 2.5 light seconds that he's judging the distance off of, assuming the speed of light. But he doesn't know the speed of light because he doesn't know the medium.
All of this is a red herring.
Depending on the medium.
It's irrelevant.
It's not red herring at all.
We know what the distance to the moon is.
No, you don't.
We don't need to know the distance to the moon. We don't need to know what the moon is. We don't need to know anything about it other than that we can see it. And it is physical.
What?
Of course it's
So
physical.
if I see a projection on my wall, that means it's physical.
That's deja vu, man. You just said the same thing you said 2 minutes ago. No, because we can see that it has features. If you can prove that it's a projection, if it's a projection,
I never
you'll be
said
able to bounce
I never
radar,
said that. I'm
radio waves
making a
off it.
point. Do you understand what a point is? If I'm saying
it's a bad point
I'm
because
not
we
saying
know
the
that we
projection. I'm saying your point that's saying just because you can see something means that it's a physical object. That's stupid.
It's another point because we can bounce radio waves and
yeah, but you haven't actually established the Earth to be a globe.
You said that you could just see it.
To know the radius of it. Yeah, you haven't established the Earth to be a globe.
I can't hear you because Jin keeps chiming in. Say again. I'm sorry with OSL.
Yeah, I was saying that you haven't proven the Earth to be a globe, so everything you said is null and void. As someone else said, it's irrelevant. You haven't proven the Earth to be a globe. To claim that 2 seconds is a globe, it's laughable. Prove the Earth as a globe.
We're talking about the moon. Stop deflecting. We're talking about the moon.
We've got people in space right now orbiting the Earth. There's pictures.
No, but that's a lie. They're all fake.
Oh, allegedly. He's a believer, man.
Well, you guys,
He's a
understand that, like,
they're all Masons.
Red Cloud,
He's
Robert,
a believer.
that's an appeal to authority, right? If we grant your appeal to authority, you'd have to grant
Authority's got nothing to do with it.
You don't have to interrupt me. If we grant your appeal to authority, then you'd have to grant any appeal to authority that the contrary side makes, right?
You're deflecting from what I have originally been saying. If you go up in altitude, air gets thinner. There's no reason to assume that behavior doesn't magically change at an altitude that is unknown to us.
Okay,
because we've been there. That's the first thing, and it's not a straw man.
Yes, it is, because you're assuming that we're talking about atmosphere, not an ether. Or some sort of fluid-like medium. Fluid-like medium.
What
how do you know that? How do you know that there's no ether? Tell me how you know
there's no science to prove there's any ether. No
That's
flat
what
earther.
all of science was founded on before.
No flat earther. No flat earther has done any science to prove that an ether exists.
How do you know that?
You just say ether.
How
I
many
think
flat
that's
Earth
enough.
videos have you watched? How many flat
They
Earth
say
videos have you watched?
ether. They say dark matter. They say every stupid thing known to
What
man.
about
Dark matter is your guys' stuff.
what about
Yeah,
It
before
makes
300 years ago?
96% of your
So let's.
religious universe.
So when I
96%.
so when I came in just a few minutes ago, I suggested that we model the moon or what the moon may be,
Can't
and
be done.
show its behavior in a model, and then show how that works on a flat Earth. That remains undone. That remains
Okay.
not
It
That would
can't
be
be
a
No,
done.
straw
The
man
moon
because
can't
we
be
don't
Of
modeled.
course, it
claim the
remains undone
size
because they can't
or
do it.
distance or
I
medium.
accept no logical fallacies.
Yes, it
The
is because
burden of proof
it's a straw
lies
man
with
because
No,
you're
you.
assuming the distance, assuming the
I'm
size,
not
assuming
assuming
what the moon
anything.
is, assuming
I'm
the
not
Not
medium.
assuming
They
assuming
anything.
haven't.
We know the distance. We can measure the
You
size.
haven't
Yep.
proven the Earth as a globe yet,
I
though. You
do.
haven't
I
proven.
Oh
do.
my
You haven't proven
God!
the Earth as a
Word
globe.
salad.
That
I
hasn't
do
been done yet.
appreciate that you drew
You
that
haven't done
out.
that. You haven't proven the Earth is a
Not
globe.
to you,
So
Jin.
you're working from
Not
a
to,
false premise.
What we
It's a
need.
and
false
not
premise.
to you,
No
Jin.
globe,
But
no
everybody
moon,
else in the world,
no
everybody
sun,
else in the
no
world knows the
nothing.
Earth is a sphere.
Can
So
one of the
correct you.
mods tell people to
Nobody
just
knows
talk
it.
one at a
Nobody knows
time?
it. They believe it.
Can one
They
of the
don't know
mods
it.
tell
Hey
people
guys,
to talk one at a time?
Yeah.
Let's have less over talking, please.
If we can stick to the topic rather than just yeah. So the fact remains that I don't believe that it can be modeled, and that's why I believe that people are avoiding trying to model it, because if you try to model it, it clearly wouldn't work, and so you avoid that.
Well,
Okay.
not really. No, you
So you're
haven't proven that the Earth is a globe. That hasn't been
So I'm
established. That's the
It has
first
been
thing that you've got
established.
wrong.
assume the
No, it
I don't
hasn't.
want to.
2,500
It's
years it's
not.
been established, Jin.
No, it
Stop
has
it.
not. No, it has
Yes, it
not.
has.
We're
Okay,
not
then why
able
are you
to
guys
2,500
establish
off
years.
it
by
today.
96%? Why are you guys off
Nothing
by
to do with the moon.
96%?
We're
Nothing
not
to
off
do
by
with the moon.
96%. Stop it.
Yes, you are. I can
What?
give you all your top scientists saying
What 90?
it.
What are we off by
Meet you
96%?
Kaku. You guys are off by
That's
your
it.
model is
Stop
you're
it. That has
96%
nothing.
stupid.
Has nothing
That's
to
not
do with the
the
moon's
diameter of the
distance.
Earth. That's not
Bullshit.
measuring the Earth. Stop it.
No, that's your model.
That's
It's
not our
not.
That's the
model.
heliocentric
Nope.
spinning globe model that
That's
you claim
incorrect.
you believe that you can't provide any evidence for.
That's incorrect. That has nothing. That's cutting edge
Okay,
science.
so
Has
you don't
nothing to
claim the Earth
do
is
with this.
spinning around, maybe around the
Has nothing to
sun?
do with the
Thanks.
Earth. Has nothing. I was actually talking, but okay, you can interrupt me because you're a mod, right?
Has nothing to do with something.
Has nothing
Yeah.
to do with the
2,500.
shape of the Earth. Has nothing to do with the solar system. It has to do with the far, far edge of the known
Yeah.
universe.
It's
No,
nothing to do with the
no.
moon or
For
its
2,500
behavior
The
Incorrect.
as it
moon,
goes
or the
overhead.
sun, or any of the planets, or anything.
Okay,
Here's the thing.
so
Here's the thing.
And if
If I
you
may just
understood what
add this
Kaku
one thing,
said
if I
here,
may.
did I
you
get to
got
respond to your long rant?
wasn't a rant. It was a simple statement
Yeah,
of
it was a
fact.
rant
Yeah,
because
give
No,
It
it
word
was a
salad
wasn't
a
simple
long.
chance
It
to
statement of
wasn't a
fact.
respond.
rant.
Hang on, it's not.
And Northern
Give
Rebellion, when he talks about the scientific method, he's
no.
talking about
That's not
QE's
a.
four-step
That's not
method.
a chance for you to chime in. Give word salad a chance to respond. You guys made a claim. He would like to talk. He was about to say something.
yeah, so it definitely does
Galatrax is here.
apply.
I'm sorry, Galatrax is
Hold on,
here.
NASA. Hold on. Let him.
Okay,
Let him
NASA chill. Look, he was talking at the same
He
time you were
jumped.
talking.
He
He let
jumped
you
out.
go. That
let
guy's
him. Let him
such a
go.
Yeah, so
troll.
Yeah.
it definitely does
Wait a
apply
second.
because if you're going to apply the same laws of gravitics to the solar system as you will to the rest of the universe, you'll find that gravity is off, which means if you guys make a prediction and you're off by 96%, shouldn't you say that your model is wrong? Because, like, if you're off by that much, you're only 4% accurate. How can you say your model is correct?
What the hell are
The
you
topic
talking?
I'm trying to get a resolution to here, or at least keep you semi on it, is the moon's behavior as it passes overhead. And the fact is, you cannot model it. And I would like you to disprove that. Can you prove me wrong in my assertion that you cannot model the moon over a flat Earth because it doesn't match observations, and therefore it cannot be the idea that you have that it's circling overhead or
The
whatever you
moon
want to
is
say it is.
operating
It
on a
is.
flat Earth every day of the
Jin,
week. It's you that
the
needs to
man was
prove the
the
globe.
man was
You
talking.
haven't
Jin, let him finish
established
his
the globe
point.
yet. You haven't established your globe. Okay?
Jin,
That's
the
what
man
you've
was
got to
talking.
do.
Let him finish
You're
his
working
point.
from a false premise.
Jin,
You're
hang on a
working from a
second. The
false
man was
premise.
talking. Let him finish
Okay,
his
man,
point.
chill. Let him finish, then we'll talk to him.
Go ahead, Rick.
So the thing is, guys, I'm not assuming anything of the medium or anything. If the speed of light is off by like it's half the speed we think it is, or twice the speed we think it is. That doesn't even matter. All I know that is when I see the moon, it doesn't change size appreciably during the day. It doesn't change size appreciably multiple days. It doesn't invert as it goes overhead, as it should on the AE map or whatever the map you want to say it is. And it doesn't change shape. So it has to be spherical. It has to be quite far away. And it cannot be circling over a disk or whatever is the claim. That's all I'm saying. I'm not assuming anything, straw manning, or any of that stuff. Thank you.
Yeah,
All right,
you
now
definitely are straw manning.
I think Jin
You
wanted to
definitely-
get in, so go ahead, Jin.
I
Yeah,
actually do
thanks
want
for
to
that.
say
Yeah,
that
thanks for that. I was just saying that they're working from a false premise because they haven't established anything in the way of the globe being alive, and they need to prove that before they can say they can send a signal to the moon at 2 seconds, returning in 2.5 seconds, which is rubbish. That's all I'm saying. Okay, they've got the burden of proof. We don't have to prove anything.
Yeah, so now I will show how this is a straw man. If you model the moon and it is the wrong size or the wrong distance or it's in the wrong medium because you can hold a magnifying glass or a magnifying dome or something like that, and it changes things drastically the way things behave. If you ignore all that, if also you assume that we have a certain type of vision, because you Globers like to say, oh, trigonometry, and then you like to draw straight lines from the eyes and act like we don't have that perspective doesn't exist and that things don't appear to converge. You like to pretend all that, and you're going to tell me that that wouldn't be a straw man of flat Earth?
I didn't mention anything about the flat Earth. I specifically
Okay.
stated that whatever you want to think the Earth is, other than a globe, all you're saying is not globe. That's fine, not globe. So what is it? So figure out what you let's. Okay, you don't know. So make something up.
We don't know
Make
its
a model.
size, shape,
Impossible.
distance, or the moon. Okay,
Create
or
a
the
model.
medium.
Create a model. You make it any model you want, because right now Geo likes the dipole thingy model. Okay, make that model and see if it works in reality. The AE map is out. AE model's out, so we know that. So
No, we don't.
make a replacement.
The AA model, I
Don't?
think, is mostly correct.
Geo-
But so if you were to model the Earth, but you assume the wrong size of the moon, that would be a straw man of flat Earth. We don't know the size, distance, or medium the moon is in.
Yes, we do.
Can you wrap your head around that?
We do.
No, because
You
tell you why.
do,
Because
and
I'm
you're
not
an
straw manning
idiot.
flat Earth, because I said nothing about flat Earth. I
You said
didn't
everything
say
about
that you
flat
had. I said nothing about flat Earth. I said that if you are not globe, so you're not a flat earther, you're a not glober. Let's just say that, okay? It isn't a globe. You don't know what it is, but it isn't a globe. If you want to know what it is, you're going to have to do one thing, and that is try to make a model and test it to see if it matches observations. That's all you have to do.
So if I don't know who my real parents are, all I have to do is just test to see who my real parents are, even though I have no data. I have no way to find out of all the millions of people who my real parents are. But just if I cannot find out who my real parents are, that means that the parents who I know adopted me are suddenly my real parents.
Honestly, I would leave that analogy.
Word salad.
I would do
That was
more
word
physical
salad.
analogy. It's a bit weird.
Well, I mean, that might be the case too. Honestly,
No,
I think
they're
at
good
that point
examples.
your adopted
It's not.
parents, you would
One
want
thing's
them
got
to
nothing
be
to
a
do
real
with
parent.
another.
Yeah,
No, the
it's
point is,
completely.
That was a pretty good analogy.
you just need to prove it.
No,
And
it's not. Taylor, how is it?
Yeah, it was.
who proved what so far? Who proved what so far? The 2,500 years, allegedly, I think it's a couple hundred, of proven it all works.
Yes.
By who?
By everyone that's ever tested it. The only people
Yes,
who
by
saying it doesn't work are the
96%
people who
off.
haven't tested it.
96% off.
Except
That
except
works
for the
totally.
ones.
We're not talking about the universe. We're talking about the shape of the Earth.
Okay, and we're talking
No,
about
that has
the
everything to
ones.
do with it.
Yeah. Before 300 years ago, what were they talking about? Or 500? And those weren't scientists, or they just didn't get it yet. And we're talking about high school level or even less arguments. So I don't know if we're getting anywhere.
Well,
You're Robert
When
Simmons.
we,
Why did you post that straw man in the chat?
the fact remains
That's
is that
making the moon a certain height. You're making humans. Okay, first of all, you made the humans like super tall. So that's another straw
It's a
man. Because you
diagram
wouldn't
so
be
you
able
can
to see that
understand what I'm
high.
talking about. It's a diagram so you can understand what I'm
My
saying.
diagram is
diagram.
way more accurate, and everyone can
No,
agree on that. You
your diagram looks like a disgusting drawing. I made a very
That doesn't
clear
matter.
thing.
It's still accurate. It's
No, it's
still more
not.
accurate than yours. Because yours has the moon sideways, and you have humans that are super tall. Mine simply has
It doesn't matter. It's
angles,
to show you what I'm
showing
talking
how when
about.
you raise the altitude of something, you see over it. So you wouldn't be able to see the other side.
You just don't understand what I'm saying. You say that the
I
moon.
understand totally.
You say
Tell me what's
that the moon
inaccurate
is.
about my drawing.
Hold on, guys.
Besides
Try
the
to
crudeness.
take turns. Try to take
Excuse
turns.
me, word
Gandhi.
salad. You say that the moon is circling over a flat planar Earth, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe.
If that were,
It's a
is that what you're saying?
Type of circuit. I think it's part of the electromagnetic field, torus field.
Well, whatever.
Yeah,
You're saying it's moving
that
around
you can
some
treat it
sort
like
of a
that.
flat. It's moving around a flat planar Earth. So I posted a diagram to show if the moon was moving around your flat pizza land, then people on one side of the Earth would see one side of the moon, and people on the other side of it would see another side of the moon. But in reality, that never happens, and you just can't understand that.
What's inaccurate about my drawing?
I don't even care about your drawing. I'm just telling you what I'm saying.
It destroys your entire little argument because when you raise the altitude, do you understand it? Raise the altitude and you can't see the other side.
I don't want
Look at the
to do
first
this for
picture.
you.
Look at the first picture. Do you see how you can see people on different sides see different sides? Then the second picture, you raise the altitude.
Altitude has nothing to do with it.
It doesn't. Yeah.
Okay.
It's
okay.
so
you need to debunk my drawing. Otherwise, you're just saying, nuh-uh.
How about this
what
word?
about
Can
What about two people in the world at night time looking at, say, an angle of like 25 degrees into the sky in opposite directions to see the moon? They're clearly not looking. They're looking more like your first diagram, aren't they?
Yeah. So, where are the people?
How do they see the same pattern?
What's the distance between the two people? Because the moon, remember, it drops below the horizon eventually.
Excuse me.
Sure, but before it's dropped to the horizon, you've got two people in very vastly different parts of the Earth at night. One is just gone past dusk, and one's just about to go through dawn, and they can see the moon, and they're looking at radically different directions to see it, and they're looking at the same thing, and so then they can't be looking at exactly the same perspective of it, can they?
What?
Oh Lord. Okay.
Say that all again.
Sorry, I was typing.
If you got two people vastly distant to each other, one's at night at dawn, one's at night just after either side of dawn and dusk. Okay, they're looking at the moon. They're looking at radically different directions at the same thing, radically different directions, and this thing appears to them both to have exactly the same pattern on it. How does that work?
Okay, what's the altitude that you're making the moon at?
Let's supposing the altitude is 25
draw your little diagram. Draw your diagram, and then I'll destroy it.
Let's suppose the elevation angle is say 25 degrees for both of them, but they're looking in completely different directions. So it's more like your first diagram.
Altitude.
Altitude of what? The moon?
Yes.
You want me to give you an altitude of the moon? Well, you dismiss all the altitudes of the moon that are given. So what do you want an altitude for now?
No. If you place a certain altitude, then that's a straw man. Because you could be saying, wait. If you say that the altitude, like if I say the moon would be at eye level, like if it's right below eye level, of course you'd see different sides. Then if I raise it up, you're going to see less of the other side, and you're going to see more and more of just one side. Correct?
No.
Okay,
you'll never share exactly the same perspective, will you? Because you're looking at different angles at the same thing, aren't you? You'll never be completely the same.
I have to say this again. Why is it not possible to try to model it out on what you perceive to be the shape of the Earth?
Because you have to assume the medium, assume the distance, assume the size, assume how our vision works.
Pick anything you want.
So no one's done that.
Because all the time that you do science, you make assumptions. All of the time you do science.
That means that if you straw man them all, then it's wrong. I'm going to make a straw man, and then that means I beat up someone.
There is no time.
I can make a straw man of my rival and beat him up. Oh, you have to assume that he's this weak. That means he's that weak, and I can easily beat him up.
I think what Red Cloud is saying, though, is if you just just make some guesses or assumptions, and if that's not what we observe in reality, then you can scratch that off your list for what's happening.
Yep, then go make your assumptions.
That would take years, and we've only had 10. We have no money.
Well, look how long we've been in this server, bro.
Yeah, it's coming up on 10 years right now, and that should have been started at day one. You should have started this process day one.
We're still trying to figure out what everything about it so that we can eliminate certain variables.
With all due respect, I don't think you are trying to figure it out because you would have started trying.
And the diagram that I made was simply to refute your claims of exclusivity. That's all.
Right. Yeah, basically, we don't want to be modelling things through assumptions because that's not going to get us anywhere. That's why we're in trouble now. You haven't established the globe, and you've gone from one false premise to the next, to the next, to the next. We're no longer in reality with your model. It doesn't even exist. So you need to work on that. We don't claim a shape. We do not claim a shape, sir. We've never claimed a shape. We've just said that the Earth is not a globe. That's it. That's all we've been saying.
So, Woodside, could you repeat your previous statement? I didn't quite get it. Thank you.
Why are all the other planets balls? And why are all the other planets round? And how do sunsets work? Yeah, you guys just point at the sky and say, wow, look, the sky matches my model, even though we made the model from the sky. That means my model is correct.
If it matches observations, then the model is probably correct. Yeah.
No. If I make a story, if there's a murder that happens, and I make up a story based on certain facts that I know about the murder, and make a story and make up a background, you know that there are plenty of movies about real stories where they make up a background. And just because it matches does not mean the story I made up is real.
We're not talking about stories and fiction. No, I don't agree with that.
Yeah, no, a story is the same as a model. If you make a model just because it matches does not mean the model is true.
The problem is you can test your model.
We don't have a model yet because we cannot freely explore the Earth or the sky.
Let me say this again. You can test your model and see if it's true or isn't true. If you can't have a model, then your idea of reality does not exist in reality. Your concept of what the world is doesn't exist because you can't.
Well, a model is not reality.
They don't have a model because
they don't live in
a model. Is not reality. It's definitionally
they can't make a model because there's no way a flat Earth model works.
If you want to address people in the room and their arguments, don't just say they. We don't need to stereotype people. Let's go arguments and claims, not people.
Well, technically, the fact that you're a flat earther and you're embarrassed about being a flat earther is not my problem.
Hang on. I am not a flat earther.
A model is a smaller version of.
I never claimed to be.
It's silly.
Then what are you then? Then what are you?
Cattle is making a model.
Why don't you let him finish the sentence?
It's because Red Cloud and Robert get so triggered every time I speak. Robert, if you have any proof of that claim, present it, because this is the third time you've accused me of being a flat earther. You don't have any proof of that.
Stop interrupting.
What are you then?
Stop, Robert. He needs to be muted.
So because I'm telling you that your claim is fallacious and you don't have proof for it, I need to now present to you a replacement claim? Your claim is that I'm a flat earther. Substantiate it or say, I'm sorry for slandering you.
Hey, Galatrax, what shape is the Earth?
This is not the
It's not time to backtrack.
Yeah, exactly. He won't answer because he's a flat
Yeah,
earther, but he's
science.
embarrassed.
It's
Do
impossible.
you have to have a label to participate in a
He's fucking
conversation?
embarrassed that he's a flat
No,
earther.
thank you, sir. And you
All right,
can't.
so this is just ad
Hey, Taylor.
hominem attacks. Look,
Taylor,
It's
what
okay if
shape is
people
the
don't
Earth?
know.
you do not
Taylor,
need
what
to
shape is the
make
Earth?
a claim. You don't need to make a claim about the shape of the Earth to
Then
participate in discussions. No, you don't, Red Cloud.
Yeah.
that's totally fine.
And
In
how
that
could he
case,
know the shape
it's
of
a
the
globe.
Earth when he can't leave the Earth to know it? He knows the Earth's surface. The surface is a level. We know that. And we know it's not a spherical ball shape because we're not measuring the curvature. And we've never, ever made the claim that we know the shape of the Earth. It's you guys, and you haven't proven the globe. So get on
What?
with
Just
it.
I'm
like they
not
don't
Come on,
claim they
flat
know
earthers.
what's
advocating for
Flat
outside of the
earthers.
anything.
universe or what was
Flat
before the
earthers. Can
Big
we
Bang.
argue with it
You don't
better?
have
Yeah.
to make
Robert.
claims like that. Like they
Yeah.
don't know what was before the Big Bang. Like that's
Exactly.
okay. They don't know what 95% of the universe is. Dark matter and dark energy. They can still claim that they know things about the universe and how it works though.
Yeah, and I just
Yeah.
want to be clear. I'm not identifying with any type of we. I'm just saying that I have my own claims. I have my own arguments. To say that you need to make a claim between A or B or C, that's absurd. I've never claimed to be a flat earther. I've never claimed to be a globe earther or whatever you guys think you need to claim. You don't. You can undermine, you can make arguments, you can undermine arguments. You can talk about these things without having to claim either quote unquote model.
Yeah,
Bro,
they don't know
there's
what
people
gravity
out
is on the
here.
atomic level or how it works, but they still want to invoke gravity as proof, but fundamentally they don't understand it.
Hey, Taylor, what's the
There's
dome?
people out here that always have to categorize you in order to even engage with you because they don't understand how to be free from chains. All they know is chains. So if you don't have chains on, something is wrong with you, right? If you're not like me, bound to chains to something. Like, I think most religion is crap, right? Most of people are just making shit up.
I
And,
mean, that's the best.
not much
That's the
proof
best way to
against it,
describe
but
people.
somebody wants to call me a Christian because I think murder is wrong, right? But I think all religion is kind of stupid. So you can't
Your
call me a
moral conscience
Christian,
says
right?
that.
But
Here's
they'll
The
the
best
have
way to
thing
to
about
do
describe
it.
labels.
someone is to
Here's the
find their.
thing about labels. Here's the thing about labels. If you don't label yourself, everyone will label you, whether you like it or whether you don't like it. That you
Yeah, it
will
What's
be
their
doesn't mean their
labeled.
problem?
label's accurate. That doesn't
So
mean
the
their
best
label's
way of
accurate.
dealing
Red
with
Cloud,
that,
if you do
the
you
best way of
claim a
dealing,
shape of the Earth?
yes, I do. The best way of dealing with that is to label yourself, and then no one
No,
gets
the
to say
best way
what
to
you are.
deal with that
No, it's
is
not.
to
No, it's
understand
not,
that
Red
they're
Cloud.
ignorant, that they don't have the preliminary power to do anything for you, and their assertion, whether it's based on experience or otherwise, hearsay, is still a moot point. You don't know the entirety of the being. You can't judge it.
So
Yeah, like
Galax,
so companies and government
the
administrations that have gotten billions of dollars to study the Earth and the universe can say that they don't know what 95% of the universe is, and that's totally fine. But then if somebody says they don't know what shape the Earth is because they've never seen it, that's not okay.
no, because that's false.
What?
That's
Well,
false.
hold on,
I can give you like all your
I
top
haven't
scientists
seen.
saying that. Do you want me to do it? And then you're gonna admit you're wrong.
Let me make sure that I heard
Well, he had
Taylor
a
right.
good argument earlier. He
Hey
had a good
Taylor,
argument earlier with
could
the
you
experience thing. And
could
the
Taylor,
problem
could you
problem is you're never going to experience
Taylor,
landing on the moon, Mars, or anything else.
Red
okay,
Cloud,
Taylor,
are
could
you
you?
familiar
What,
with
Red
what a
Flag?
false dichotomy
I'm
is? Are
sorry.
you
Give me
familiar
a
with
second,
that?
Taylor. Could you repeat your previous statement and make sure that I got my assessment right, please? Sorry.
Well, what I said was
Yeah.
a government administration who gets billions of dollars in tax money to study the
Mhm.
Earth and the universe can say that they don't know what 95% of everything is in the universe. But it's
Right.
not okay for somebody who's never personally studied or seen the Earth to say they don't know what shape it is.
Or say they don't
Oh, I
make a
see. You know
claim?
what? I misconstrued. I didn't hear everything that you said. It went by too fast.
He was basically saying
Let me think
your
about that.
top
It's a
scientists
good
get to
question.
study for years and get
Hold
millions
on.
of dollars. What's that?
Let me let me think it through. So if I have evidence that tells me the shape of the Earth or about anything, do you think it's reasonable if I think the evidence is valid for me to accept that evidence?
Yeah, if you think it's
Well,
reasonable, but other
evidence is
people
like
can look at
Okay.
the same evidence
experience.
and say that they're not accounting for all variables and not think the evidence is reasonable or valid or
There you
convincing
go.
enough to make a definitive
By
claim.
what by what
That's where this
metric of
debate
reason, Red
looks.
Cloud? By what
Yeah.
metric of reason?
Yeah, and you would have to have proof, not evidence, but proof.
Well, what he said,
Actual
what he
Like
proof.
what?
said was meaningless. He said if he found it acceptable, he would like. He basically said he would agree with himself. It was a meaningless statement.
It's
Hey,
not a
Toby.
meaningless
Yeah,
statement.
definitely.
If I think the evidence is bad,
Toby.
then I'm not going to accept it. How is that a meaningless statement?
We all
What you
agree.
just said was a
If we
meaningless
found
statement.
evidence that we thought was good, we would agree with it too. You're
If
not
I found
saying
That's not a
anything. It's a
point.
if
meaningless statement.
if I found evidence,
Edwin King.
that
Yeah, and if I found evidence that was convincing to me, guess what? I would also be convinced. Wow, whoa, groundbreaking shit.
Should
I've
it be by
investigated
standard?
my own argument and agreed with myself. And
Here's the weird thing. So, Red Cloud, you said that you get to like believe evidence because like if you believe it's strong enough. I don't know exactly what you said, but don't we also have seen evidence? And even if you don't think our evidence is true, we don't think your evidence is actual evidence for the globe. You don't think our evidence is evidence for the flat Earth. So why do you come in here and mock and ridicule us?
What's the standard
You have
of
no right to
evidence that you
ridicule us.
have?
We're doing the same thing you're doing.
What's going to be like the standard of evidence? Is there like an objective terms or anything like so
I think
people
that
know what
something
kind
that
of
is
evidence to
They
present?
I
believe
think something that is repeatable that accounts
they
for all variables that is mutually exclusive would be good evidence for me.
Oh,
Hmm.
you mean repeatable stuff? You know, actually repeating something like the moon landing.
Yes, stuff that we can do and repeat, right?
In
That is
reality,
mutually exclusive between a flat and a globe Earth that also accounts for all variables that could give you that same result. And that's what you have to do in
Well,
Sally, you
repeat.
landing
still
on the
there?
moon. Here's why they don't like the word proof, because proof is something that's so concrete that nobody can go, that's not true. And you getting in a rocket, your own, and landing on the moon yourself and bringing back your own data, more than enough. It's concrete. But you don't have
Word
that.
salad, are you
None of
still
us
there?
have that. So how
Yes,
can
I'm
you
there.
say that it's possible?
Okay. Okay, so your
Thanks for
diagram about the
talking,
moon.
though. Thanks. So
So
great
word
that you
salad.
just step on somebody. Thanks.
I'm there.
Sorry,
Do you
so,
have something you want to say?
yeah, you know your diagram of the moon.
Yeah.
Consider. I'm just about to post some 4 images. Just consider this for a second, yeah. This is the day-night map for about a week away from now on a particular date. I've just chosen a date with the moons between Johannesburg in South America, Perth in Australia. See those 2 red dots on the first map?
Yeah.
Okay, both looking. If you look at the second one, these are stellariums for exactly the same time. You have to take my word on it, but I've just put the position and the time into these. You can check this if you want to. One's clearly looking very much more east, nearly east. One's looking nearly west. The same thing.
Yeah.
And they're both looking around 45 degrees elevation to see it. Both looking radically different directions. And there's your triangle like you drew. Roughly 45
Yeah.
degree
So now
angles.
raise
Very
the
rough.
altitude. Now raise the altitude.
So how would you, if I raise the altitude, I'll raise the elevation angles though, wouldn't I?
If you raise the altitude, eventually you won't be able to see the other side, right?
I'm stuck with those elevation angles, aren't I?
Why can't you raise the moon up higher?
Because then the elevation angles of that triangle would change, wouldn't they, radically differently?
hey,
Yeah.
I've drawn
Taza, real quick?
roughly.
I see your
Sorry.
picture of that triangle. I'm just wondering, are all the verticals perpendicular to that horizontal line?
Why don't you just focus on what's in the picture rather than going off somewhere else because you don't know what's in the picture and chuckling?
I
Okay.
was just
Let me.
wondering if you took those angles, right, and then that's completing a triangle. So you have 3 straight lines there, and I'm wondering if one is horizontal and all the verticals are perpendicular to the horizontal.
Well, one is horizontal, and there's 2 lines at roughly 45 degree elevation angles. So clearly, if I keep that
pretty much dictates where the topology of where the moon is in that picture, doesn't it? Really, if we
Okay,
assume that.
let me post something in the chat, and
So Pazza, what are you saying about it? That you should. What's your claim about it? Something about the moon?
Well, word salad
okay,
was saying that.
Here's the picture. Now, do you see my drawing? If the moon was
Yep.
there, people would see the other sides. But if you raise the moon altitude, you would be able to see less and less of the sides. So if I drew that picture, wouldn't that be a straw man of flat Earth, right? And then you drew the picture. Isn't that a straw man too?
Word salad. What you've done on my drawing is you've drawn two lines which clearly aren't around the 45-degree elevation angle, which Stellarium says they are.
Well, how do you know
He's saying he took an angle measurement. He said he took an angle measurement to the moon.
You're using trigonometry.
Yeah, I'm using trigonometry for your example here.
Yeah, but your baseline is curved.
That streetlights would drop down.
One at a time, lads. One at a time.
Trigonometry is not accurate to perspective.
Oh, okay, that's how it works.
It's not even close to accurate. I can drop trigonometry angles, then actual angles of small objects, like just a small piece of wood.
So how do you explain the fact that both looking? Yeah. So how do you explain the fact they're looking at roughly 45-degree elevations from two completely different in two different directions at 5,000 miles apart? Can they be seeing exactly the same perspective of the object in the sky? How can that be possible?
Yes. So it would be expected that would happen because the higher up an object is, actually the steeper the angle will get, the more steeper it will appear to drop down due to perspective and convergence.
No, but you're running away from the fact that you're running away from the fact that in a week's time, someone in Johannesburg will look 45-degree elevation to see the moon, and someone in Perth in Australia will on the same night at the same time. They're 5,000 miles apart. If you try and represent this with two elevation angles, clearly where those lines meet will be where the thing is, and they're not looking from the same perspective on the same object, are they?
You can't use trigonometry because it's not the same thing as perspective.
But draw what we would use.
It doesn't match real life the way your eyes work. So
well, you're not.
Wait a minute. Trigonometry for streetlights. The streetlights would never drop down.
You guys are doing really well. Just keep trying that one at a time thing. You're doing really well though.
I'm telling you what would be observed and the distance between them. And you're pretending that the light rays leaving the moon and reaching our eyes aren't following those straight lines, aren't you?
Yeah. So do streetlights drop down?
It's got nothing to do with perspective.
It has absolutely everything to do with perspective.
Draw it then. Draw what I did. Draw the equivalent of what I drew, where they share the same perspective.
You're saying that the moon you shouldn't see at a 45-degree angle, and you're using trigonometry.
Right. Well, now you're just departing from you're parting from the objective evidence we have. You're departing from that to say something that is genuinely word salad now, because you're not able to draw it.
Okay. What is word salad? You cannot find anything I said that was word salad.
I can. You're saying if it's high enough, you'll see the same thing. But if it's much higher than that, you're not looking at a 45-degree elevation to see it, are you anymore? You're looking at an 89-degree or an 85-degree angle.
Okay, and once again, you're using trigonometry to predict those angles.
No.
You're not.
You're objecting to someone. You're objecting to someone coming up with a propositional drawing which shows two people on a flat surface 5,000 miles apart, looking at the angles they'd be looking at to see the same thing, and you're just rejecting all of that, but you're not actually presenting any geometry or any drawings, and that's telling. You're just saying nah.
You can't use geometry or trigonometry because that has nothing. They do not work the same way that your eyes.
Wait, do you mean like on stuff in the sky, or what do you mean exactly? Like,
yeah, of course you can use.
They like to draw. They like to draw straight lines and pretend that we have box vision.
Well, we can build a house like that, right? We can build a house like that, right?
Instead of all this
Hold
coding
on, hold on, Paz.
why don't you draw the lines of light coming from the moon in that diagram that should arrive at 45 degree-ish elevation angles to these positions?
Hold on, Paz.
Get your pen out.
Hold on, Paz. I want to ask Warsaw something. Are you saying like the sky, like there's a curved visual space, like you have a personal dome? So then when you try to draw those lines, like the angles to the moon and everything, the moon isn't in like a actual position, it's in an apparent position?
Correct. Yes, I would word it differently, but yeah. So basically, like if you look at street lamps, if you look at street lamps and you're at the eye level, they will appear to not drop down when you're at the height of the top of the street lamp. Then if you go down to where you're standing at ground level, then they will appear to have a steeper angle towards the ground. Now lie down on the ground, they have a even more steeper angle. Trigonometry does not predict that they will drop down like that.
It absolutely does. Go ahead and draw the side view and draw the arrows, and it'll be exactly what you see.
Cut off.
If you're looking at something,
No. Wait, hold on. Trigonometry doesn't. Wait. Trigonometry doesn't make a statement about optics. That's silly.
Do you agree that your eye has angular resolution?
Oh my god.
That has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
You can't answer.
Okay.
Well, yeah. I have to get going in a couple minutes. So.
Yeah, well, you need to think about this, because if you're looking up at 45 degrees in the sky and someone else is 5,000 miles away in the opposite direction looking up 45 degrees in the sky, how do you envisage where the moon is in that scenario?
Okay. Is the street light, based on your elevation, is in a different, okay.
We're talking about the moon and its observation, aren't we?
Yes, I think he's trying to ask you a qualifying question. Get Edwards, Helen.
So if you have a street light, based on your elevation, will it appear to drop steeper? As it gets further away, will it have a steeper angle towards the ground? Like if you have a row of street lamps, do you agree that the higher up that you are, the less of the steep? Sorry, I'm not wording it correctly. The lower you are to the ground, the steeper the angle will be. So like until it's almost at a 90-degree angle, so that if it's really, really high up, it will appear to have a 90-degree angle appearing to drop down. That's what we see the moon doing, which means the moon is pretty high up. Do you agree that the lower you get, the steeper the angle becomes?
The lower you get, the steeper. You mean if steeper, higher in the sky? You mean elevation-wise?
I struggle to follow that question. Did anyone else?
Me too.
Could you try rewording that so maybe Paz can understand better? I struggle to follow there.
So, if you look at a row of street lamps and you're at your eye level is at the top of the street lamps. So, are you following that?
Yeah, think about that. Eye level. They'll stay at eye level because of perspective.
Yeah. So you agree that street lamps, the top of them will appear to follow a straight line all the way till it disappears.
Can you hear me? Because I just answered that.
The premise is kind of flawed. I mean, it's either going to fade left or right. If you're looking at it straight on, then the one that's in front of you is going to be the largest optical resolution, and so it's going to actually block out all the ones behind it, which actually still makes the point you're trying to make. But
they'll generally be able to follow straight lines. Like you wouldn't see the one in the back be very low compared to the one in the front, right?
Okay, but what's this got to do with the moon?
Yeah, so now, if you decrease your elevation, now you view them from ground level, the one in the front will be way higher than the one in the back. And then if you lie down on the ground, the one in the back will be way, way lower than the one in the front, and it'll be actually way closer to the horizon.
Yeah.
Do you agree with all that?
Okay.
So tell me.
Let's supposing I agree with all that. Then let's talk about the moon in this scenario.
Okay, the moon is completely applying with this because when you have a certain altitude to the moon, it will appear to drop down at a certain rate. So your trigonometry angles do not predict that street lamps will do that the same way. But
why you back to street lamps again? Let's talk about the moon.
Yeah.
Two people, 5,000 miles apart, one looking east, one looking west at the moon.
Okay. Why are street lamps not valid in this argument?
But let's talk about
Rochelle,
what
can
I
you turn
brought
off
to the
the
table.
beeping?
Why are you doing this?
Because true lamps have everything to do with it. Because it's it's
Okay.
basically a celestial object, but you know that these streetlights are not
Okay, so let's
physically
suppose
dropping down.
I said I'll agree with everything you've got about to say about street lamps. Let's get back to what I brought to the table. The moon. Two places, 5,000 miles apart. One looking east, one looking west. Both of them at roughly 45-degree elevation angles, they see the moon. Let's talk about that.
And how'd you get those elevation angles?
What do you mean,
Bro,
how'd you
alarm.
get them? Oh, come on, man. You're
Did you
looking
use
in the night sky.
trigonometry? Did you use
Okay, all right.
geometry?
I'll leave it there. Where so, if you can ask me how I get an elevation angle to a star at night, then I'll
I'm
definitely
trying to
know
get you
where
to
it is.
realize something, but you
What are you trying to
apparently
get me to
don't.
realise? Do you think we can't
That
work out the
friggin'
elevation of a star at any given time in the night sky? You think there's a problem with that?
no.
What came
What?
first? Sync rate.
Oh, sorry, Gio. It's a freezer, but I can leave the area.
Bank
Anybody
angle.
want to address this?
Okay, is that better?
Yeah, it sounds way better. There's like a beeping sound that was
Yeah,
annoying.
but
For now.
one of my freezers is like it never wants to acknowledge that it is actually closed. But yeah,
That's
I
how
don't
you
know.
keep
Can
cool
someone
in
else
Jamaica.
explain to whoever that was, Kazak? Someone else explain it better? Because I do have to get going.
Are you trying to say
And
that
he doesn't.
streetlight convergence? You're trying to talk about that?
Well, yeah, he's like applying geometry and angles that you draw like in 2D, trying to apply it to your eyes, even though your eyes don't work that way with objects.
Well, can you draw how it does work? Because you've got two places, 5,000-ish miles apart, instantaneously looking at the moon. One's looking due east, one's looking due
No,
west.
that's his point. That's wait. We got it. I can make this a lot easier for you. That's his point, is that you can't draw it, right? Because you're seeing it from the perspective of an observer. We're not looking at this from like pure Euclidean space. It's not something you can draw because you're talking about observations of the sky from a lens.
In other words, you can't model it.
Oh, we can't.
But if
draw
you're
it.
on,
We
if
can't.
you're
We
just
can't
on,
understand the sky.
That Earth is unmodelable.
Yeah, but
Because it
wait,
doesn't exist in reality.
reality is
I forgot
non-Euclidean,
about that.
obviously, but we do use Euclidean on the ground, right? But you guys would have to agree you wouldn't be able to draw this either, because when you draw that
exactly.
90
Even
degree,
NASA
which,
agrees. NASA says the
yeah,
moon's in apparent positions. It's like, this is old. This is not an argument.
yeah, you guys have to agree with it simply because of this, Pazza. When you
NASA's
draw
a
that
reliable
90
source of
degree
information
angle,
now.
dude, when you draw the 90 degree angle down from the moon there, and then you derive that distance, you like do this whole Haversine formula thing and all this stuff. It's like weird, but it's a 90 degree angle, and 90 degree angle makes perpendicular lines. And perpendicular lines are straight, dude. They're not curving.
This is
It's
all
just
just
an
like verging
axiom.
away from the data.
In
The information in this
reality, at
diagram
least.
is quite clear.
Well, it's impossible
Yeah, I think
for
What
you
you're
nailed
saying is
it.
that
So
what you're
yeah,
saying
I'm gonna be
is the
going now.
moon
be straight. It's
observations
impossible
of the
I'm gonna be
moon
going now.
are undrawable. Is that what you're
Later,
saying?
Has it, Catfish? You can talk after I leave. But yeah,
Thanks,
I think you guys
Rotella.
nailed it. What I was saying. I guess I just didn't describe it right, but yeah, thanks.
One analogy I like to use is if you put a quarter in the bottom of a pool and then you have everyone point at the pool, that'd be like drawing lines, right? Everyone would draw lines. You'd know the exact point of the pool, of the quarter in the pool. You'd have a map. You do an overhead map. But then once you fill the water with, you fill the pool with salt water and everything's refracted, everyone's going to point to a different spot where that quarter is. And all of a sudden, all your lines are not going to have a single they're not all going to intersect at the same point. You have no idea where the quarter is. It's basic refraction.
That's why you take
Good
your
point.
wedding ring off and put it in the glove box when you go to the beach.
Is anybody going to write this down and present it to the world and to a wider audience? Because I'd like to be there when that happens.
Well, what
Hey,
Toby just
do you
described is basic
agree with this, or
refraction.
are you going to disagree?
No,
He's just here. He's just here to make himself feel better by trying to argue with people without actually having an argument of his own.
No,
What he does, what he's doing is he wants to. He has intellectual
Give
insecurities,
Pazza a
and so
chance
he
to
wants to
reply,
find people
because
who are more stupid than him.
That's what he was hoping for. You're correct. That is what he was hoping for.
The whole point in the analogy is if you put a soccer ball with different colours and different areas around it at the bottom of a swimming pool, when everyone stood around it and they all pointed to it, they would all see a slightly different arrangement of colours because they're looking at, and they're not seeing they're not sharing exactly the same perspective, point of view of the thing. That's the point we're trying to talk about here, which Wordsalad made out. Wordsalad made out these two places, Johannesburg and this place, that he's not even giving an explanation why they see exactly the same pattern and configuration and not another bit because they're looking around it a different way. If they see it's fair, how can they both see exactly the same thing from two different directions? Could you explain that?
You can't even draw it like that.
You get the swimming pool example that Toby laid out, right?
Yeah, so you put a football at the bottom of the swimming pool and you paint different coloured spots all around the pool, and you've got people stood around the pool pointing to it without the water being there, like you just did in your analogy. They're all going to see a different arrangement of colours, aren't they? They're not going to all see exactly the same perspective of the ball. Let's go with your analogy.
Actually, if they're all wait, hold on. Actually, real quick. If they're all standing above, like looking down at the pool, pointing into it, they're all going to see one half of the ball. So, I mean, maybe you might get like a little bit more resolution if you're able to cover like a vast distance and get, like, actually, let's put it this way. Let's say the swimming pool is 2 miles deep and you have a light so bright at the bottom that everyone's pointing at it from that perspective. Then you fill that with salt water. Now the distance is, now you're basically, hold on. I'm kind of lost my train of thought here. But essentially, you fill if the distance was so great that you don't even actually, like, man, I am bad at articulating myself right now. Just exaggerate it. Yeah, you don't actually know the distance to the bottom, so you're actually only going to see one perspective. Everyone's going to see the exact same side of the ball, the same colors. You may see different, different amounts of certain colors from certain angles, but you're only going to see one side of the ball when the distance is great enough. Sorry that took me so long to get out.
That's fine. So everyone is stood in a way that their arm is pointing 45 degrees down rather than 90 degrees down, but somehow they're pointing 45 degrees, but the ball's
well, no, dude, why are you changing the premise? You said it was about the colors on the ball. Why are we talking about where the arms are pointing now?
Because in this example where people are looking at the moon, their arms are all pointing in different directions, okay? And surely there must be a correlation between where they're all pointing and where the thing is.
Not necessarily. I mean, if let's say I fill a glass of water a glass with salt water and I put a straw in it, and I make my assumption about where the straw is based on just purely looking at the water itself and looking at the straw in the water and not the straw in the air. And I go to put my mouth on the straw, I'm going to miss the straw, poke myself in the eye. It's not where I think it is.
Okay, but
refraction.
But would you agree? But if there are two people in Johannesburg, one in Johannesburg, one in Perth, 5,000 miles apart, and they're all pointing at 45 degrees towards the moon simultaneously, straight line pointing up 45 degrees, like two little Nazis doing a Nazi salute, both facing different directions. Yeah. Where can you draw where the lines of sight are going? Where are those going? If they reach and get the same perspective of the moon.
No, dude, you're just pointing at the sky. You're pointing at. I just explained refraction. Like you're literally just pointing at an arbitrary spot above you. I don't understand how like you just disregarded everything I said and acted like you had a new point.
Well, I didn't disregard it, but can you draw it? Can you geometrically represent two people looking in radically different directions?
No, dude, that was the first. The very first thing I said to you was that was the whole point, is that you can't draw it. And then I gave you multiple explanations behind why you can't draw it, which you seem to agree with. But now you're going back and saying, "Oh, but you can't draw it." Like that's a big problem. Like
how can you explain it? How can you explain it, but not
yourself? And you're making the same non-points that I've already addressed.
What value is an explanation that you can't draw a diagram of in this respect?
Okay, so when I wake up in the morning, and if I haven't drank water in 3 days, I'm going to be really thirsty, right?
Yes.
Can you draw me a picture of that?
Right, okay. But we're talking about perspective, geometry, observations, lines of sight. We're not talking about how much you had to drink, are we?
You're talking. You're
Wonderful
talking
analogy,
about.
but it's a bit.
It's okay. I admit it's not the best analogy, but we're talking about the sky that we haven't measured. The only way you can justify any of your claims, your bizarre claims, is if you buy into the entire heliocentric narrative and all of NASA's claims and all of the NASA footage. Otherwise, don't interrupt me. Otherwise, you're just making claims about the sky, which has not been measured. You're talking about what could literally be the exact same analogy I gave of a multiple mile deep pool with a light at the bottom, and it's filled with salt water. So you really have no idea where anything is that you're pointing at. And actually, if all these biblical cosmologists are correct, there could be a dome in between you and the pool. So who knows what the hell you're looking at?